Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
On the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. Live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency in Coralville. This is Hawk Talk with Jensen. Presented by Oak Knoll Retirement Community. Also brought to you by 988. There is hope with a 988 Lifeline. Call or text 988 for free, 24/7. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Honda, to see how Honda crushes the competition, see your local Central Midwest Honda dealer. Honda gets the Midwest. Oak Knoll, an active life care community powered by the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa basketball. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. And by Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. Here is your host, Rob Brooks.
Well, filling in for Rob Brooks tonight, I'm Catherine Reynolds here with Coach Jensen for Hawk Talk from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar. That's 20-win, Coach Jensen, that we're talking about here inside the Watermill Kitchen and Bar in the Hyatt Regency in Coralville, presented by Oak Knoll. So, Coach, a big week behind you. Went 2-1, close out the regular season. That UCLA game on February 23rd sort of feels like a distant memory.
Seems like a month ago.
I know, I feel the same way, but lots has happened and lots to come.
Right.
And Michigan, double-digit victory, 79-66, and then, of course, yesterday on Senior Day, you take down Wisconsin 81-66, securing you the 11 seed in the Big Ten tournament, which is back in Indianapolis this year. We've always had great fan support in Indy, but I think since someone with the number 22 moved there, it might be even a little bit louder with the Iowa contingent in Indianapolis. I think it's safe to say. But this was always one of my favorite times of year, Jan, when I was on your staff and working with Coach Bluter. It's like the office kind of becomes this command center. And everyone's got multiple TVs, multiple screens going on with different opponents. It's the managers are breaking down everyone you could potentially play. You know, you've got, as the head coach now, people coming to you only on the kind of an as-needed basis of the very next opponent, and then just the key things for someone you could face down the line if they do something different, maybe a press or a zone or something that you don't see typically. There's just so much preparation that goes into the then execution when it comes to March and one and done basketball, first in the Big Ten tournament and then in the big dance. So we will dive into the Big Ten tournament, where ironically you face the Badgers right away again after just facing them yesterday. But let's first talk about the week that was and start off again congratulating you on 20 wins. That's a huge milestone as a head coach.
And everybody got that. Everybody got that. We all got that. You're the people that helped us get that. So thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with us through it.
But so why is 20 such a milestone?
You know, I think it's just always been kind of a benchmark, I think, percentage-wise of winning in any season. I think no matter the conference that you're in, is usually when you hit that, you have some good success in the non-conference, and it kind of takes you into your conference. I do think we might have to analyze that metric a little bit now with these power conferences. I think the 20 wins, when you're going into these 18-team conferences, it's going to be, I think, harder and harder to maybe, hit that mark. But I think the 20, it's just always been, I remember when I was a young coach, just thinking, wow, if you can get that 20, boy, you're sitting great for an at-large. So it's just kind of been, I kind of think, part of the tradition. And usually teams who have 20 wins, they are a mainstay in that NCAA tournament. And I think my son Jack said it best a couple nights ago when we were preparing to play Wisconsin. He said, Mom, we've sure taken an interesting path to get to 20. And I said, we really have. I said, I'm just glad we're somehow maybe going to get there. So that just is a lot of belief with our players and staying the course and showing up every day. And I think, this group, at the radio show, you guys have been here with us about 5 weeks ago, and you were as exuberant then as you are now. And I think we talked a lot about adversity and how that's just sports. I love it so much because it's such a microcosm of life. And I was just so happy for our team to get to that 20-win benchmark because it really showed staying the course. And when they kept believing, the tide kind of turned. So I was really, really thankful.
Well, congratulations. And Jack could have made that comment when he was 6 years old, and it wouldn't have shocked me. He's been very insightful, a basketball mind through and through, very much understands those types of things. He's like speaking to the head coach now, and always been that way, Jack. And Jack, thanks for being in attendance tonight. But the UCLA game, so that was February 23rd, ended up as a 2-point loss, 65-67. But at one point in that game, you had a 12-point lead. Then UCLA started to UCLA, so to speak.
Right.
And, you look at that roster, and you've probably got, 4 to 5 WNBA draft picks that are, regardless of what grade they're in right now. So you're feeling pretty good with that lead, but understanding what can happen. And, ultimately, you do get out rebounded 43 to 34, something that has been a strength of Iowa's on the year. But you had a really balanced scoring attack in that game. Lucy had 17, Addie, Taylor, Hannah, all in double digits. But just talk a little bit about that game if you can go back that far.
Yeah, I mean, I loved our game plan. I think our assistants have done a superb job with our scouts. I think they've been great. And what I really think this team has done really well is really knowing personnel. Because when you get into different games, right, there's, sometimes with a team like UCLA or USC, there's very few weaknesses. But when there is even the slightest hope of a weakness, you have to really have a game plan to try to capitalize on it. And so our players have done really great. If we go into the game and, you got number 10 who's a great shooter, you can never sag off of her. You got to be on. But in the 3 minutes that she does get subbed out, if 15 comes in, don't guard her at all. And you need to shade, do everything you can to get it out of Lauren Betts' hands. And they've been really great. From game to game, this changes, right? It's like you give them a scouting report that's about 20 pages long, printed on both sides, and they need to learn the differences. So what happens on Wednesday can be totally different than what's happening on Sunday. So with the game plan, if you watch this with UCLA, you probably have never seen this, full court press as long or as often. And we did a 3/4 court zone, and we went back into zone, we went back into player. I'd watched the Oregon. Oregon should know UCLA best because they were in the Pac-12. And I was watching them play Oregon, and Oregon was picking up in a half-court press. And I don't think it didn't appear that UCLA enjoyed that very much. None of us like to get pressed. But even it made it look like they just were a little uncomfortable. And then talking to Randy Henderson, who had that particular scout, it was like, well, we need to try to limit how many seconds we actually have to guard 6-7 in the quarter court. And so we thought, well, if we can, let's try to utilize, a little bit more full court pressure. And it really worked pretty well. It's not something that will work with every team, but I thought that was the key. The third quarter just was really our demise. They became UCLA again, and they started to utilize 6-7. We just don't have the size or the strength to really get her off the block. So when they started to throw it to her more, that's when she had, some baskets. And then we had some ill-advised decisions we made on the offensive end. But I cannot be any more proud of them. We coulda, woulda, shoulda against a lot of teams, but we coulda, woulda, shoulda against UCLA. And, the game ended. We did have a shot, but unfortunately it ended with that weird foul. That really wasn't a foul. It was for the other team, right? But I'm not supposed to say that. So I won't.
So
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, I'll say it. I'm not in your seat, so yeah, absolutely. I mean, upon replay, it became pretty evident, and this room definitely probably saw the replay. It looked like a bit of a moving screen.
It was, but it wasn't why we lost, for sure. But it's just unfortunate. It always feels like that when it's one of those situations that really flips it. But we could have done a whole lot of other things earlier. But it was a well-played game. It was, they gave it everything they had. And I think what was important, I really challenged them about, okay, we came so close. How are we going to respond on the road? And when we went to Michigan and to see them, how they played against Michigan, that was probably one of my highlights of this year, is just to see how, boy, they responded and they moved the ball, and we did a lot of great things, both on both sides of the floor. So that was probably a really good confidence builder for our whole team. But I think especially for me and our staff, it was like it was starting to click.
Yeah, well, for one, the scouting has always been a hallmark of your staff. You are going to always have a game plan put together that puts your team in the best position to win, and sometimes that leads to beating USC at home.
Right.
It puts you within 2 points of UCLA and garners confidence as you go into the conference tournament and have them on your side of the bracket.
Right.
But Ann Arbor's where I was headed next too, Jan. So personally, watching that game, I felt it was maybe one of your best executed top to bottom by your team. It just seemed like firing on all cylinders. You kind of withstood a run that they made, which maybe at certain points in the season, your team, some doubt could have creeped in. Seemingly it didn't, and you never let up. But Sydney Affolter, we have to talk about her, especially in that game. Career high, 24 points, I think 11 rebounds, and one of many double-doubles for her on the season. So if you could just talk about Sid's monster night and then her evolution over time. I mean, I can't believe how fast her 4 years has gone.
I know. I'm trying to figure out how to get her a fifth year, but it's not working out so well for me yet. I was so happy with that. I mean, her first quarter, when she hit all those threes and they were kind of sagging off of her, and just the way that she, really showed up in that Michigan game. And Sydney's leadership has been crucial all year. But Sid is, those of you in the room know that story so well, but that just is another cool, I think a cool example for a lot of the young kids that follow us, or maybe everybody, right, is, you just want that breakthrough. You want that promotion. You believe you deserve it, and it's my turn. And sometimes you just don't get it in your time frame. And, Sid, especially with portals now, right? You have everybody and their brother telling you if you don't, score 60 points and play 50 minutes out of 40, you should hit the portal, right? It's just crazy. So Sydney holding and then having the end of the year as she did last year. And then when she held with the transition this year, when I got the head job and was, staying, and then how she's led all summer. And then she had the knee injury, a meniscus, cleaned up some things. So she started slow. But then to see this kid just really, when we all started to click, it was like Sydney just started to do everything we needed her to do. We need that rebound, check. We need a pass here, check. We need a big three, check. We need, someone steady and positive in that huddle, check. And then when she has a starring moment in really probably one of the most pivotal games, as a coach, you just you really can't draw that up any better. And I just think the world of Sid, and I'm just so happy for her and really, really proud of her.
Well, and you and I both recall Sydney's freshman and sophomore year when she was really not getting in the game at all. But every single off day, I'd be on that treadmill trying to run, and she'd be in the weight room just getting after it, after workout that she'd make up for herself or have the strength coach Lindsay Alexander make, and every time it was just without fail. And so it's not surprising to see that payoff for her now in her senior year.
Yeah, I that's what's so cool, and I think it will be, and it should be, and I hope it is an example for all of our great freshmen right now, right? Because I know everybody's got different opinions. Play this person, play that one. They should go in. We should do this, do that. But the evolution and the readiness for athletes is so different, and snapshots of what you see in a game, that's a snapshot of what happens for 2.5 hours a day for the whole season, and the struggles and the highs and the lows, and we stat everything in practice. And so flashes of brilliance, if it was always that clear, then they'd be playing all the minutes. So the ride, college basketball is really hard. Taking that jump in anything in life is really, really hard, and it doesn't come as easily as it seems in all the movies. It doesn't come as easy as it has in the past, right? And so I think Sydney's example and the way they lead for these all-stars that aren't getting the minutes, I'd like to think that there's just another Sydney that's waiting to, really waiting to blossom in a year or 2 years. So I just think there's so much good about the Sydney Affolter story.
Well, and credit to you and your staff with the player development. That's a huge piece of it as well. But it's time for us to take our first break. Oak Knoll's mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care, a not-for-profit life plan community serving the Iowa City community for 58 years. Oak Knoll is conveniently located near the University of Iowa Healthcare Campus, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, and downtown Iowa City. A proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Visit oakknoll.com to learn more. This is Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from Learfield.
Hey, Hawkeyes, while you're hard at work in class or on the court, there's a team behind the scenes making sure that the power keeps going, the water keeps flowing, and the temps inside are just right. Introducing the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative. The collaborative is a public-private partnership between UI, NG, and Meridium. It delivers the funds UI needs to drive our academic and research excellence while optimizing campus utilities for a generation to come. Check it out at uiowaenergycollaborative.com.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
Hawk fans, stop in and visit the newly renovated guest rooms at Hyatt Regency Coralville Hotel and Conference Center, located in the heart of Iowa River Landing. Stay within walking distance of Extreme Arena, home of the Hawkeye volleyball team, as well as great restaurants, shopping, and scenic walking trails along the Iowa River. Hyatt Regency Coralville is also the home of Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen and Fran McCaffrey. Come together at Hyatt Regency Coralville, where everything you need is right here.
Hear that? That's the Iowa Lottery powering up the new Pac-Man scratch ticket, where you could jump your way to $50K in instant cash prizes. Even if you don't score big in your first round, you still get an extra life. Because you can enter non-winning tickets in the VIP club for a chance to win a Pac-Man arcade package, plus your share of $325,000 in cash prizes. That's a lot of waka waka winning. Woo-hoo! Pac-Man is registered and copyrighted by Bandai Namco Entertainment Inc. Enter and see rules at iLottery.com/VIP.
I'm Nick Jackson. I play linebacker here at the University of Iowa. On the field, I stop the run, I make the tackle, I drop in coverage.
3rd down 11. Straight back to pass to Sullivan. He's running for his life. Down he goes. That's a loss of another 6. Nick Jackson.
Off the field, I help my body's defense by choosing vaccines that are right for me. Ask your doctor or healthcare provider which vaccines are right for you.
A message from Iowa HHS.
Hello, Iowa.
Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency and presented by Oak Knoll. Just as a reminder for those listening, if you'd like to submit a question, we're available on Twitter at Iowa_Learfield or hashtag Hawk Talk, on Facebook.com/HSP Learfield, the U.S. Cellular text line, or you can email your question at hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. And Coach Jay, we have a question from Audrey that came through the Iowa_Learfield Twitter. And since your family's in the house this evening, we're going to ask you this one just to talk. She says, talk a little bit about your amazing family and kids. What have they meant to you during...
Janie, did you write this question, Janie and Jack, about this amazing, I don't believe it's this Audrey person. Jack, Janie.
What have they meant to you during this process? And lastly, any funny family stories from road trips with the Hawks?
Oh, man. Number one, I have the very best family. My spouse, Julie, she makes sure that I have smoothies with energy and trying to get me to sleep, and just all the support, and just couldn't be more supported, and forever grateful for that. And then Jack and Janie, there's no more loyal kids. I think this year, one of the sweetest things that happened was during the adversity streak. Jack, I don't know if you remember this. I came home late at night, and he was up too late, probably. But I walked in, and he put his arm around me, and he said, "Hey, Mom, it's okay." He said, "I wouldn't get on social media tonight." And I looked at him, and I said, "Oh, I wasn't planning on it." And I said, "Maybe you shouldn't either." And he said, I can handle it. I can handle it. Just I don't want you on it. And so I thought that was pretty cool when your kids start to flip it and become your protector.
Yeah, all along, great memories.
Yeah.
You know, I used to babysit these two, and you would always call Julie your all-star. Nothing's changed there. That's very clear.
They're just great. I think every coach's family will tell you, and you guys all know this when you work in different endeavors. There's just some long hours, and I just really... I get choked up thinking about it, but I got a great, just been so blessed in my life, but these guys have made it even greater. And as we've grown up in this, job together, and now the new gig, it's been a little different. The pressure's been a little different, but they've been super. I have so many stories of Jack's analysis at age 4 on up that it'd take a whole radio show, but he's been a great little coach since he was 4.
Yeah, well, thank you again, Audrey, for submitting your question on Twitter. And so we'll pivot back to some basketball, Jan. And the Wisconsin game yesterday, 81-66 victory on Senior Day. Not really a slow start. It was close. You guys both scored over 20 points, but sort of a slow second quarter. Can you just talk about that first half?
Well, Senior Days are always odd because there's a lot of emotion. But I kept telling the team, every time I watched Wisconsin, I just couldn't believe what their record was. Because they have 2 guards that are pushing 40% on three-point shooting, a kid off the bench shooting about 40%. They have 1 power forward that shoots nearly 33%, and they have this high-low game. And for those of you who really watch the Big Ten season, there's nobody in the conference that has a true high-low post game. Right? I mean, if you've watched, you have UCLA, 6'7", but their power forward, she was like a guard, right? She's like Sydney. She faces out. She's never up at the high post looking to post or looking to drive or hit the 6'7". They do other actions. So when I was watching this, being a post coach, I love the high-low game. If you remember, you fans here, our Elite 8 year and the great greatest GOAT of all time, Megan Gustafson. We played Hannah Stewart at the 4, and we played Megan at the 5, and we ran the triangle offense, and that was that high-low game. And Hannah Stewart to Megan, it was really a pretty awesome combo. So when I was watching Wisconsin, they do it really well, number 1 for Wisconsin and number 25. And when you're a 4 that's used to guarding facing, you're usually working on drives and covering a 3. So we did not do a good job of the high-low game. We got behind on defense, and when you get behind number 1 and 25, they're going to make you pay. And when the ball's at the top of the key, I call it, you want to be on the line, up the line, so it doesn't look open, the passing lane. But they do a really good job at taking you down. It's what I call a split move, and they split Sid, and then she'd go really wide, and they'd hit her, and then, Sid is not that tall, so we couldn't get the stop. So if you watch the second half, we went to the big lineup, I call it. Addie at the 5, Hannah at the 4. And then that it countered that for a while until our offense started to click a little bit more. So I had all the respect for Wisconsin, and this league is just really tough top to bottom. And, I told the players at halftime, I, kind of got a little intense with them and said, name me one game that we've really blown anybody out this whole year other than we played well at Washington. I said, tell me, what game have we just been able to come and just show up and it's going to be an easy one? I said, it kind of looks like defensively, we're not quite as focused, and I thought we did a better job coming out.
Well, Larry in Orion, Illinois, on the U.S. Cellular text line had a good question as a follow-up to that. He says 2 words from yesterday, 15 rebounds. Can Hannah Stuelke repeat that performance against the Badgers again? I wish every night was senior night. And then I'll add to Larry's question, what does that feel like to know you're facing them again Sunday and then on Wednesday?
I think you can get caught up in, either way. Oh gosh, we're playing Wisconsin. It's tough to beat them. We didn't stop in the first half. Or, oh, we're playing Wisconsin. You beat them. You had a good second half. It's just Wisconsin. To me, it's Wisconsin. It's the first game of the Big Ten tournament, and it's I'm happy for Sean Sullivan. It's his scout. It's already done, right? He doesn't have to watch 2 or 3 games again to see if they did something different. I look at it, it's interesting. It'll be the tale of 2 halves, literally. If I'm Marissa Mosley is their head coach, she's going to be celebrating the first half and saying, look, we were in foul trouble, and we were, tied with them. And if we're us, I'm going to say, look, we didn't do this as well, but the second half we got back to who we were. So you just have to understand it's March. And, in my whole career, 33 years of doing this now, it's March and anything can happen. And so our team has never overlooked anybody this whole year. I don't think they will do that. I just know that we got to be a little bit better out of the chutes on that high-low game, because that's the thing that got them rolling. And we were fortunate they got in foul trouble. I went to zone a little bit, a couple possessions to kind of slow them down, but then they hit the doggone 3 at half. And so that wasn't making me real happy. I think that's the thing we got to work on a little bit more tomorrow. But the weird thing is, you don't have more practices. So what I'm working on tomorrow is just kind of a little like casserole, if you will, right? I got to put a little bit, if we win, you got to work a little bit on Michigan State, right? And then if there's some things, if, it all holds and we get past that one, there's Ohio State. So they both press. So I need to put a little bit of the press in, because once we do get the win tomorrow, there's no time to prepare for X, Y, and Z opponent. So I want to try to shore that up, and then I got to add a few things in.
I know lots of folks in this room certainly heard your words about the seniors yesterday, saw their tribute videos, but Kylie, Addie, AJ, Sydney, and Lucy, is there anything you would want to add just about that senior class and what they've meant to you and your program?
Yeah, I think there'll always be special in the sense that, this class, they were all part of the holding. And I think when I look back, when I'm, all said and done, retired, hopefully many years from now, this class, I think the thing will be most grateful for is that everybody held at the beginning, and all of our recruits held. And so these seniors that, could have, gone somewhere else, or maybe thought, I'm not gonna, I don't know how this is gonna be, that, bonds you in a different way. And I think this senior class was so cool because it had everything in it. You had kids that don't get off, a kid that didn't get off the bench like AJ, who's just, showed up every day and makes everybody else better, right? You have Addison O'Grady, who has big moments and big minutes, and you start her, then she doesn't play, and she doesn't get many minutes, and she gets a lot of minutes, and she's just nestled into that role and done it beautifully. It was hard at the beginning. There were tears, right? I mean, part of the process when you change a lineup, I mean, people, they work so hard and they want that moment, and they don't want to relinquish it. But then when they look at it from a holistic picture and you try to paint it and say, look, if we do this, Hannah's going to be a little better, but every other position is going to get a little better, and your sacrifice is going to make the whole thing run better. And then when they grasp it and they do it and then have moments, it's just the coolest thing about being a selfless player. And Addie really has done that. And then you have Lucy Olson, right? She just has a great career going, but wants a little different taste and comes and following the world's greatest, and then just etches her own way here and becomes a fan favorite. And then you got Kylie, who everybody now, as I think you're seeing her value when it comes to the defense. And then you got Sid, is everything that's right about the American dream. So it's a heck of a class, and they've meant a lot, and they've won a lot.
And so Kevin had a listener question that you just sort of answered regarding Lucy and her impact on this program. She'll go down as one of the best to ever play here, Kevin says. And then he says also, what's your feeling on Kylie coming back for another year? Is that a high priority to her at this point, or are you guys kind of holding off?
Well, that's always what we've done, is I think it's better to let them enjoy the present and know that there'll be a place if they want it. And I think Kylie, I don't think she was really thinking about that when she started. And then as she got going and now she's really come into her own, I think it's more of a definite possibility. So we're definitely encouraging that. But you have to think of it like we might all want something for someone, right? But if it's not, if it's not a two-way street, it doesn't work so well. And I think about that in recruiting. If I have to twist someone's arm and coerce and really hey, come to the altar and let's get married, and they're not so sure, then it's probably not going to work out in the long run, right? So with Kylie, she knows I'd love to have her back. I think her defensive prowess, I think she's really hitting her stride. But she also has to, want to come, to that conclusion. And, she's put a lot of time in and, come back great from that knee injury. So I'm hopeful, but we're going to revisit that, at the, conclusion. You're getting closer to the end of the year.
Well, thank you. And time for another break. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. Thank you to Iowa's corn farmers who lead the nation in corn and ethanol production, feeding and fueling us all. Go to iowacorn.org to learn how corn grows Iowa. This is Hawk Talk with Jensen from Learfield.
Did you know that UI ranks near the top of the EPA's Green Power Leaderboard with 84% of our energy coming from renewable sources? Now you can be a part of the team that makes it happen. The University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, with our partner, NG Iowa, is offering full-time positions in utility operations for our campus and hospital water, heating, steam, and distribution systems. Check out the jobs and apply at uiowaenergycollaborative.com.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide, experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides a direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support. You'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. A message from Iowa HHS.
At US Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit US Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. US Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments, they're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment, knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar in the Hyatt Regency. You can join us for Hawk Talk here at the Hyatt Regency in the Watermill Kitchen and Bar in Coralville and watch the show live. Each week, the Kitchen and Bar is offering an extended happy hour, including $1 wings, $3 drafts and domestics, and $5 house wines. Come on down to Watermill Kitchen and Bar and join us for a great evening of Iowa basketball. And it's a good reminder that Fran McCaffrey's show is following ours next up this evening, and that the new Iowa gymnastics coach, Jen Llewellyn, will be joining the show this evening. So definitely tune in or stay tuned in if you can. Hope the folks here in the room are sticking around. And thank you again to the Watermill Kitchen and Bar. So, Jan, if we can just do a little bit of a preview of the Big Ten tournament. You know, remembering now there's a new format. Only 16 of the 18 teams in the Big Ten qualify, so you know, even that's a little different. There are now 3 games played on the first day, which is Wednesday in this case. That's not a day you're too familiar with playing in that tournament, having the good fortune of having the double bye the last several years. So, you know, as the 11 seed, you play the 14 seed. We already talked a little bit about Wisconsin, but the winner of that game advances to play 6-seeded Michigan State, who you faced way back. First Big Ten game, first Big Ten road game. Hard to remember, but as you kind of look at that bracket that came out late last night, thoughts?
Well, you know, I think it's just interesting because it's, you know, with expansion, you would love to have the double bye and you'd love to have the single bye, but I think the growth of this team is what I'm just focused on. And you know, they've battled so hard to get to where we are, and the league is just, there's a lot of, you know, people tied with those weird tiebreakers, whatever, and the seeds fall as they may. So you just kind of have to take it one game at a time, and I feel like if we can beat Wisconsin, which will not be an easy task in my opinion, because, you know, they showed that they were very good and they're hungry and obviously have worked to get into the tournament too. So if we get by that one, it does set it up that we get an opportunity to, you know, right or wrong in our, you know, our opinion, right, to maybe get one back from Michigan State. And then if we could do that, we'd have Ohio State, and that would get one back because we lost in overtime there. So it's possible. But it's you do get a little bit more tired each day, right? You get a little bit more, there's a lot of intensity and emotion that's different than in practice. When you practice every day, you're thinking, the pressure, the decision making is, you know, you can't replicate that in practice, even if you do bring in referees and your male practice squad. So there's a lot of you know, madness things in March. But I think, you know, I think the lineup, I think every team in the Big Ten is just hard for a different reason. So I'm leery about Michigan State because we did not win there. They pressed really hard. Their defense is as good as anybody's. I love their power forward. I wish she wasn't on the team anymore, but she took her 5th year. She's a tough matchup. I really think highly of their coach. I think she's one of the better ones. She was coach of the year last year in this league. So that's really going to be difficult. They're a weird matchup. Their center is really big. She plays like a guard. We didn't do that so well last time, but if I was playing in Illinois, I tell you I don't like them, and if I was playing Nebraska, I tell you I don't like them. So you just kind of have to go into it and game plan it and hope you hit more shots than the other people and get more stops than the other people.
Well, and you guys are such a different team than you were when you went to East Lansing, and that's always something that gives you confidence as well. Michigan State's just a tough team. They're physical, like you mentioned, but then you're right, on the other side of that is Ohio State. On the other side of that is UCLA, again, with that double bye. These are all teams that, even if you lost, you were in really, really close basketball games with. Ultimately, it would take 5 wins in 5 days to win the Big Ten tournament and make it a 4-peat. But that sounds pretty good.
It does, doesn't it? I like the sound of that. I like it. I told the players at the game last night, you walk in there like the defending champs. I mean, there's no other way. A, it's true. B, that's where you're going. So, it doesn't, I'm not into like, we got to play 5 days. It would have been nice. It's, hey, it can be done. So that's how we just have to approach it. And I think they're hungry, and I think they're going to be eager, and I think they're going to be up for the challenge.
As they have been all year. So we'll do another listener question that was emailed to hawktalk@radionetwork.com from Casey in South Carolina. Hey, Coach, so excited for the tournament. We loved the game yesterday and loved the minutes from Ava Hayden. What changes, what changes in your lineup affect how often she gets in the game, and just how her minutes kind of changed over time?
It depends on matchups. If we have different bodies, like when you think of Lauren Betts at UCLA, Addie O'Grady was her high school teammate. Addie's a little bit stronger physically, and they're both more truer post players. With Sarah Williams of Wisconsin, she's a little bit more wiry, mobile, can shoot a 12-footer with ease, can put it on the floor. And so that's a little bit more Hayden's game. So it's kind of personnel matched up or fouls. And, Ava has, been coming, and, she's going to be really, really great in time. I have my philosophy in practice is I stat every statistic, and we have different groups that play well together. I stat groups, and I try to put together the team that's going to have the most, success when you get on the floor. Certainly Ava has some, great moments, and, if she continues just to handle whatever those minutes are right now and has a great summer, she's going to be a fantastic player.
And as a lot of that goes along with how you mentioned before, sometimes you are going with that 4-5 where Hannah Stolke's at the 4, Addie's playing the 5, or Ava, and then that leads to minutes for, say, Tegan Mullaney, where she sees a little bit more time when she's subbing one in, one out with Hannah.
Exactly.
But so you talk a little bit more about your freshmen in general, especially as now we've got the whole body of work of the regular season to draw upon.
Well, I think, with the freshmen, the game really goes so fast. And for some of them, it's still going pretty fast. Some of them are getting a little bit more comfortable. And it was really interesting as this season. We learned a lot as a staff. I think some of our subbing patterns at different times, you're really trying to get people a different shot, a different opportunity. You're just trying to get that group. And I think when we settled on it, and, I just told the staff, I think we got to switch Hannah to the 5, which then kind of hurt Ava's minutes a little bit. But it did give Tegan a little bit more, because when Hannah was playing the 4, then you had Sid and Hannah at the 4, so Tegan didn't get as many minutes. But then Ava was definitely always backing up Addison. But the shift in that was Hannah was having a little bit more success. Sid became a 4, had a little bit more success. I think we can see that. And so she was having to guard people that weren't exactly guards. So I think that's how it just kind of affected it. So the freshmen had to ebb and flow with that. But in the midst, while we were doing a lot of the subbing patterns, is our veterans were playing a little tight, and our freshmen were just kind of, playing with that naivete. And so then all of a sudden it settled when we got Hannah to the 5. Then you just saw her kind of be a little more consistent, and Sid became a little more consistent. Lucy got more comfortable. So then that squeezed a little bit of those youthful minutes. So now I think Ava is settled in, and I think the big thing in coaching is when you get to a point where you get everybody to kind of get comfortable and accept a role they wish they didn't have. And everybody from, the New York Yankees in baseball to South Carolina, Don Staley, I think, will tell you, it's hard because everybody has been a star. Everybody you recruit was first team. Many of them were players of the year in their states. So then all of a sudden it's like they don't get in or they're getting limited minutes. It's really difficult. But when you hit it and everybody then just, is going to be a star in their role and not disappointed they don't have the starring role, then you can make ground. And I think these freshmen have grown, and they've really starting to understand how they still are impacting the game and impacting the program. And I'm really grateful for that. But it is hard. And I think Tegan Mulaney is a big guard. I think she's going to, she works every day. That kid works every day with Raina. So the same thing with Taylor Strimlow, who's something. Taylor Strimlow, her wisdom, her leadership, her ability to lead, she's going to be a really key cog in our wheel next year, and she already is. I think Ava mentioned her, and Aaliyah Guyton is just really fun. I've had to slow her down because of her mind, because she's just cleared. She missed about 333 days not doing anything. I talked to her about this. Nothing when you have a knee injury, and she's been back for about 100 days. 100, give or take. She has to slow down. Sometimes we got to manage the knee. So what she's doing, just coming back at the end of November, is really great. But again, it's not what she was doing in high school. So it's just getting everybody to understand that, wow, what they're doing this year is amazing, and their minutes are huge. And next year, all this experience that seems not that much, boy, it's going to blossom into really what I hope is going to be another really good year.
Yeah, you've got an instant impact from all four of them, just in different ways. But it's time for another break. And U.S. Cellular, as a proud sponsor of the Iowa Hawkeyes, U.S. Cellular wants you to make the most of today by choosing game day traditions first and scrolling later. U.S. Cellular is built for us. In Oak Knoll, another sponsor, Oak Knoll's mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care, a not-for-profit life plan community serving the Iowa City community for 58 years. Oak Knoll is conveniently located near the University of Iowa Healthcare Campus, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, in downtown Iowa City. A proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics, visit oakknoll.com to learn more. This is Hawk Talk with Jay and Jensen from Learfield.
Did you know that UI uses the same amount of energy as all the rest of Iowa City? That's why we have our own power plant, and we're committed to making it clean. By 2025, we'll rely completely on climate-friendly, alternative fuels. Deep in the boiler rooms, engineers from the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative are optimizing the power plant so it can handle these new fuels more efficiently. Learn more about it at uiowaenergycollaborative.com. That's uiowaenergycollaborative.com.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
Hawk fans, stop in and visit the newly renovated guest rooms at Hyatt Regency Coralville Hotel and Conference Center, located in the heart of Iowa River Landing. Stay within walking distance of Extreme Arena, home of the Hawkeye volleyball team, as well as great restaurants, shopping, and scenic walking trails along the Iowa River. Hyatt Regency Coralville is also the home of Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen and Fran McCaffrey. Come together at Hyatt Regency Coralville, where everything you need is right here.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment, knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
I'm Wyatt Black, defensive line, Iowa. On the field, I take on double teams, stop the run, and sack the quarterback.
Sullivan now runs for his life, and he's obliterated by Wyatt Black. Here's the snap, the spot.
Yes, and it's blocked it. Kick is don't touch it. Don't touch the ball.
Hawks get it back. Wyatt Black, that man, Momentum shift there.
Off the field, I help my body's defense by choosing vaccines that are right for me. Ask your doctor or healthcare provider which vaccines are right for you.
A message from Iowa HHS.
Not all internet is created equal. It's a lot like choosing a quarterback. Technically, you could sign up any new rookie provider on the block, but the success of every device in your home depends on it. Will they perform in the clutch, or will they buffer under pressure? Extreme provides the speed you need with a 100% gigabit technology network and amplified Wi-Fi. And unlike signing a quarterback, Extreme Internet requires no contracts. There's only one pick to lead your team. It's Extreme, powered by Mediacom.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jensen from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar in Coralville. The University of Iowa Energy Collaborative is proud to be the presenting sponsor of Hawkeye women's basketball all season long, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. Learn more at uiowaenergycollaborative.com. Just as a reminder, our last Hawk Talk of the year with Jensen is next Monday, March 10th at 6 p.m. Mr. Robert Brooks will be back in attendance for that one. And then I know everyone in here has already got this in their calendar, but Wednesday night is the opening game of the Big Ten tournament for the Hawks against the Wisconsin Badgers. Tip-off time's a little bit TBD, having the last game of 3 on the day, probably somewhere in the 8:30, maybe 9 ballpark. We'll be on air, Rob and I, 30 minutes prior to tip in any event. So you can just be locked in and ready to go. I know you'll all be watching a full day of Big Ten tournament basketball. But there's a good listener question that came in, Jan, about game management. And how many games have you seen this year where you've had to go to Coach Abby Stamp's big binder of tricks for the end of game? So they ask, how does Iowa and maybe other teams manage the last few seconds of a 30-second shot clock? And I'm going to add end of game type situations. And are there certain individuals or players on the court whose job it is to monitor that? And then when it comes to end of game, how do you guys make those decisions?
Well, the end of a shot clock, it can be it depends. And if I don't like how it's going, we have different codes I yell out, and that'll be like usually a ball screen with our people who can handle it. Lucy's a good option for that, right? Sid, I don't like her taking it. But I think more importantly is that end of game that you bring up. I typically like to run things that we practice, and so we'll do end of game situations, and you'll just feel comfortable with that. Sometimes you can draw up something that you're seeing that just, here, go here and do that, and hopefully they'll handle the screen like you think. Let's say if they're switching on back screens, it might be a good idea to drop a screen where you think that, hey, they're going to switch a little point guard on Hannah, so let's do this play, right? But when it comes to you need a 3 and there's 4 seconds left, we've auditioned 3 or 4 different plays and we voted which ones that we like. So then we've done this a lot in my tenure. We'll have one coach that has the binder. So Abby has that, and so she opens it up and reminds them where they're supposed to be because we practiced it in practice. That frees me up that if I want to, then I can think about, okay, if it goes in, if it doesn't, do we want to run zone? Do we want to double the inbounder if we're going to be up 3 or we're going to be down? And so then I can be thinking of that without having to waste, the time of just reminding them. So Abby's got the reminder, and then it keeps it steady and it keeps one voice. I think it's really important at the end of the game that you lessen the noise. Usually the crowd is raucous and everything is going on. Every coach knows their role, and we know a point, and Raina or Sean's going to give reminder of defense, and I'm going to give the synopsis, or Abby always has the book. So we try to do that, but then there's emotions, and there's different mistakes or here or there, and you have to manage and cover it. But I really like how we have our different roles at the end of the game.
Right, and that happens throughout the game. I don't think a lot of people realize that. You've got your players line up the same way every time, point guard through center. Your coaches are cued in on their specific task, whether it is defense or matchups. Raina's always got those. That's that sheet that she's waving around, and how important that consistency is. But when it comes to those end-of-game situations, for 4 years you had a player who could close her eyes and shoot it backwards, and you had a pretty good chance that maybe you tie or win the game. So how has that changed for you?
Yeah, I think that's been a little bit of a challenge as we were going through it is number one, you have one of the world's greatest players is no longer an option, right? But is finding the go-to. And that's where it's some games, it's just like, should I go with this person? Should I go inside to Hannah? Should I go with Lucy? Should I go with Sid? And that's a little different, and it's taken me a little bit of time, and so we don't have that. It's different. So I go with my gut, and I kind of go with how the game's flowing. But that's been a little challenging because if everybody in the gym knew it was going to Caitlin or it was going to Monica a couple of years ago.
And it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It still couldn't stop it.
You're just going to go, right? And so part of that's the rarity. Part of that is just, I think, veteran teams. So this year we just had a lot, right? 8 out of the 13 are new to us. We have a lot of freshmen that have been playing minutes early. And then one of your key cogs is a kid that, started at Villanova, and now she's learning a different system. So it's not that they can't, and she's not, and she's not, and she's not a go-to player. It's just the synergy of how this year has ebbed and flowed. At times, I think that's just been a little bit of a challenge. But when you do get that go-to that can be able to do that, that makes it a little bit easier. But on the flip side, I don't think the opponents know really where it's going either. So, we've just been a work in progress, and I think we've gotten to a really good spot. I'm just so grateful for their hard work, and now it's the fun of March, and I know they've worked hard, and they deserve a lot of fun moments, but that doesn't guarantee anything. I'm just glad I'm riding with this crew.
Well, it's always a chess match, like you say. And did you add some jewelry since the last break?
I did. With some fans gave me some lucky beads right here. I'm ready. They told me these are for good luck, so I put them on immediately. Immediately, right on, right here.
Yeah, they're not coming off till Sunday night after you cut down the
Well,
nets.
I wouldn't say that, but I have them in my possession.
Okay.
I have them in my possession.
So tell us just briefly here, Coach Jay, what the structure of this week is like as your team travels and then gets ready to play 5 games in 5 days.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Raina and I were recruiting in Des Moines at the state tournament just about up until showtime. And then tomorrow we have practice 9 to 11, and then they shower, and then we head to the plane. We charter fly. We'll head out to Indy. I'd like to take them out to dinner tomorrow night just to get them out of the hotel, because I hope we're going to be in the hotel a long time. So we'll have a nice dinner. And then Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wednesday we'll have breakfast, and we'll have a shoot around, and then we'll go to the game and try to win it. And we'll hopefully put that on repeat for about the next four days.
Yeah. Well, thank you to everyone here listening. Thanks to the audience across the country listening.
Yeah.
And this has been
Hawk fans, the best fans. Thank you all for always showing up and sticking with us. Everybody listening too.
Absolutely. And this has been Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from Learfield.
When you live in the Midwest, you're accustomed to leading the nation in certain things, from corn and pork production to eggs and soybeans. And now we're adding another product to that list: clean, renewable wind energy. By investing in wind turbines and partnering with area farmers and landowners, Mid-American Energy is harvesting wind power that's homegrown right in our very own backyard, which not only provides customers with low, stable energy rates, but also the support to make our Midwest communities safer and stronger.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Corn can even fuel your drive to watch the Hawkeyes play when you choose Unleaded 88. It's a fuel that's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So as you head to cheer on the Hawkeyes this season, don't just fuel up. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Find Unleaded 88 at a station near you. Go to iowacorn.org/88.
Hear that? That's the Iowa Lottery powering up the new Pac-Man scratch ticket, where you could jump your way to $50K in instant cash prizes. Even if you don't score big in your first round, you still get an extra life, because you can enter non-winning tickets in the VIP club for a chance to win a Pac-Man arcade package, plus your share of $325,000 in cash prizes. That's a lot of Waka Waka winning. Pac-Man is registered and copyrighted by Bandai Namco Entertainment Inc. Enter and see rules at iLottery.com/VIP.
Not all internet is created equal. It's a lot like choosing a quarterback. Technically, you could sign up any new rookie provider on the block, but the success of every device in your home depends on it. Will they perform in the clutch, or will they buffer under pressure? Extreme provides the speed you need with a 100% gigabit technology network and amplified Wi-Fi. And unlike signing a quarterback, Extreme Internet requires no contracts. There's only one pick to lead your team. It's Extreme, powered by Mediacom.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide, experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, or just needs someone to listen, 988 provides a direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support. When you call, text, or chat 988, you'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. You are not alone. For 24/7 support, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
Live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency in Coralville, this has been Hawk Talk with Jensen, presented by Oak Knoll Retirement Community. Also brought to you by 988. There is hope with a 988 Lifeline. Call or text 988 for free, 24/7. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Honda. To see how Honda crushes the competition, see your Central Midwest Honda dealer. Honda gets the Midwest. Powered by the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. Oak Knoll, an active life care community. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa basketball. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. And by Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.